Your news for the state of Tennessee in about 10 minutes. Tennessee in 10 starts now.
Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Amanda Hara at WSMV in Nashville. A church bus carrying children crashed with a semi-truck that was hauling cattle. This happened in Trousdale County last night. TDOT says the cattle truck crashed into the front of the bus and then overturned across Highway 25. 15 people were on board that church bus, including 14 children and the driver. The cattle truck driver was the only person in the semi's cab. Veterinarians were called in to check on the cattle. People living in the area tell us that the bus was picking up children and heading to a nearby church at the time of the crash. Well, today lawmakers are going to talk about getting a new crime lab in Tennessee. They say it would help shorten DNA testing turnaround times. The state has really been focusing on how long it takes to process rape kits since the death of Eliza Fletcher more than 2 years ago. Her killer was involved in an unrelated rape a year prior, but the sexual assault kit that identified him had not been tested before Fletcher's murder. Back in October, the TBI said they've been able to shorten the turnaround time by about 5 weeks by outsourcing kits and hiring more staff. But state agents have previously said that more testing centers would help cut that time down even more. Next month, state lawmakers will consider a bill that would help provide resources for teenage girls. The bill would require most schools in Tennessee to stock girls' bathrooms and locker rooms with feminine hygiene products. That would go for every high school in Tennessee. We're going to follow that piece of legislation as it moves through the General Assembly. We'll keep you posted on what's decided. A report highlighting the barriers that a lot of Tennessee parents face trying to find childcare will be released during a Tennessee Advisory Committee meeting this morning. The report says affordability is one hurdle, and it makes 9 recommendations to address the barriers. Some of those recommendations include aligning state and local pre-inspections of a daycare and aligning zoning for childcare businesses with zoning for schools and churches. We talked with a new mother who says, like so many other parents, she's having to get creative.
Thankfully, I had 3 months of maternity leave, and then my husband was lucky enough to get 3 months of paternity leave that he could take after mine. So we were kind of strategic in how we did that so that we could push off the daycare costs as long as possible because it's very expensive.
All right, another recommendation includes using vacant and surplus public school properties for childcare.
In the WVLT newsroom, I'm Whitney Turner. 13 bear cubs will be put down, and the decision is causing friction between the rescue caring for them and the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Last year, 3 bears with pneumonia died at the Appalachian Bear Rescue. Now, TWRA says 2 new bear cubs at that same enclosure are sick with what may be the same thing. And they say 11 other cubs at the rescue were exposed to those sick bears. TWRA says it consulted with several other groups like UT's College of Veterinary Medicine and the National Park Service, deciding that putting down the 13 cubs will keep the sickness from spreading into Tennessee's wild bear population. Why not just keep the cubs at the rescue and treat them? Well, TWRA says they need to be released into the wild quickly so they don't become used to humans. The Appalachian Bear Rescue says the cubs have been symptom-free for weeks. They do say they are heartbroken by this decision. Back to you.
We have body camera video now showing law enforcement rescuing a dog from a creek following Tuesday night storms. An electrical worker and Tennessee Highway Patrol trooper heard the dog screaming, followed the noise to a creek along State Route 48 in Dixon, and they noticed the dog was injured, couldn't move its back legs. A man who lives nearby says he made a makeshift stretcher using a hammock, rope, and plywood. That's how they lifted the dog up and out of the creek. The dog was taken to a veterinarian for treatment, had surgery, and is now recovering. They are working to reunite the dog now with its owners. Stefano, let's talk about the forecast.
We have a lot of cold that's returning to the state over the next couple of days, just in time for the last shopping weekend, by the way, of the season. So if you do have any shopping plans, just know that that chill is really going to settle in. Now, we are going to work on some sunshine this afternoon. It will be colder, though. Temperatures 40s to near 50 across the state. And then tonight, the temperature drops just a little bit more. It's not going to be ridiculously cold, but noticeably with temperatures that'll be in the 30s and even near that freezing mark. We'll actually start with some sunshine and some clearing very early in the day tomorrow. Then things actually get a little interesting. There is a storm system that's way off to our north and east. It's up near the Ohio Valley into portions of the northeast, and that's where the majority of the moisture is going to stay. However, as we get clipped by that, there will be a few scattered flurries and even a couple of passing snow showers. In West Tennessee, we're pretty much in the clear, but in Middle and East Tennessee, I don't want you to be surprised if some flakes do fly. Now, as far as accumulation is concerned, very little to nothing at all. If you're looking for some decent spots, you'll have to go none other than the Smokies, where we could get maybe up to about an inch or two, depending on how steady that snowfall comes down. This should be very manageable for us. It stays cold through the weekend. Temperatures will be in the 20s in the morning, 40s and 30s in the afternoon, but at least good sunshine, Amanda.
We've got an inside look at what Tennessee head coach Josh Heupel has to gain if the Vols keep performing well. We took a look at his contract, and if Tennessee wins against Ohio State this Saturday, he'll get an additional $250,000, and it keeps on going up from there. If the Vols win the national title, he would get a $1 million bonus. In the WVLT newsroom, I'm Whitney Turner.
You're going to see the Vols in Netflix's newest documentary on college football. So camera crews have been following the Vols and several other teams around the season, getting the behind the scenes of SEC football life. The series will have 8 45-minute long episodes, and the documentary will be released in the summer. Thanks for joining us for Tennessee in 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning with a look at the big stories from across the state. Have a great day.
This is Tennessee in 10, streaming your news and weather across the state in about 10 minutes.